What is up, everyone? Yeah, I need to make sure that was recording. Alright, so I had to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to stop apologizing for the truck being trashed because it just seems like every time I clean it, something else happens. So, right now, my air conditioner is out. I had my wonderful blower motor went bad. Had a brush inside of it that was sparking and doing all kinds of stuff. So the truck is sitting in parts, and I have parts laying everywhere because I'm getting ready to do a DOT brake job on the truck, which is going to be fun. And I had to stop by and pick everything up and take it to the shop. But either way, today's video is about the 4 credit cards that I have been using in order to repair and rebuild my credit. Now, I'm not going to get into too many specifics as far as like interest rates and everything like that, because I mean, as anyone knows that's trying to rebuild your credit or reestablish credit, anything, you know, along those lines, you automatically know that you are in a position where there's not a whole lot you can do about interest rates, and you're going to be on the higher end of that scale. And in order to reduce that number on interest, you pretty well have to take a kick in the butt and do everything in your power to maintain those balances and get those interest rates brought back down where you can then graduate into a better card. Either way, these are the 4 that I am currently using. Now, the reason why I'm showing you them like that is because I know some people tend to see logos easier and colors easier and be able to pick up exactly what card they're looking for rather than just me saying the name. But either way, the reason why I went with those 4 cards, the First Access, the Indigo Platinum, the Credit One Bank, and the First Premier Bank, is they focus on people doing just exactly what I am doing and what some of you are attempting to do. Now, like I said, the interest rates aren't the greatest, but given the fact that you're in the position that you're in, you can't really argue that. Like I said, just do the best that you can to maintain the accounts and keep everything in good standing, and then you can come back and revise that with that company or move up the ladder to a different card. Either way, with those 4 cards, there's not one that I really like more than the other. They all pretty well do what they need to do. They don't have high limits on them, but they have enough to where it at least makes it worthwhile in order or in having them. So it's not like $100 credit limit or anything like that. It actually has a little bit of money on it where it makes sense to use it and whatnot. Now, most of them do have a startup fee that's taken immediately off of the card when you start it, and then it basically leaves you like with a half balance or less than a half balance, and you have to immediately pay that back. But again, in rebuilding your credit, this is unfortunately some of the territory that you land in, and you have to accept certain things in order to make a step forward. And if you sit around and try and argue with that, you're not going to get anywhere very quickly at all. Now, back to it. The one, there is one, I'm not going to say I like it more than others, but it does play a good role in what I do as a truck driver. And that is the Credit One Bank. It does give you cashback rewards, and it is true, I have earned cashback rewards on it, and I was focused on that card for a minute just to see how much I could gain. And in order to really gain cash back on that with a lower credit limit, you have to constantly keep cycling the card. So, you know, maxing it out and paying it off 2 or 3 times in a month, and you could build up a lot of stuff. And the cashback rewards goes through fuel purchases and through grocery store purchases, which I do enjoy that because they're the only times that I've really used it and gained cashback rewards is when I was at the pump and I needed some extra diesel, and I just didn't feel like putting it onto my Pilot Flying J card. So either way, with those 4 cards, I've got them set up, and you don't have to do it this way, and you don't even have to get these cards, but I do use them. I have been using them now for about 6 months each, because I got all 4 of them at about the same time, and I got one at the beginning of the month, one a couple weeks, a week and a half to 2 weeks into the month, and then I got another one about 2.5 to 3 weeks into the month, and then I got one right at the end of the month. Now, did I do that on purpose? Not exactly. However, I will say that it has, quote unquote, been working to my advantage in a certain way, because all 4 of them come due at a different time. So I'm not, stressed out for trying to pay any of these things. I mean, it's not really like a high bill or anything like that. And I do generally try to run them as high as I can and then get them paid right back down, so I don't carry a balance on them. But that's just my technique. And if I am carrying a balance, I try to keep that balance at or under 30% of the overall credit limit, because that is what's going to affect your credit scores. If you are over the 30% on your credit usage, then it's going to hit you negatively. Whereas if you keep it under 30%, it actually reflects positively on your credit report as far as good usage of credit and or a maximum allowable credit. So I do that. There has been a couple times where I've slipped and I've forgotten, and through the Experian Boost app, it will say, oh, your credit usage has significantly increased, blah, 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 blah. But either way, I'm fine-tuning my system with these 4 cards being set up at 4 different dates throughout the month, where I constantly get an updated report from Experian Boost on how my credit report is doing. Now, with that said, I feel that it is to my advantage that I'm having 4 of these cards actively engaging my credit report at 4 different times throughout the month, because it's showing very active credit usage. And at the same time, I'm keeping everything pretty well under control. And like I said, I made a few slips, but nobody's perfect. And I had just forgotten to pay the bill or whatever. But I've got all my dates wrote down on a piece of tape and stuck up here now, so I constantly pay attention to that and keep everything as good as I can. Now, with that said, and actively engaging my credit report, I've noticed that I'm getting a lot more good marks and my credit score is going up. And for the couple of times, unfortunately, where I forgot to make my payment and I missed it by like 1 day, it actually, it hit me and it knocked my score down. So on the FICO reporting, I mean, it's a dramatic hit. Like when it hits, it comes in and like you can lose points just like that. And I was getting up into the mid 600s finally, and getting there where a lot of people weren't really looking too hard at me for if I'd ask a question, if I can get this or I can get that. It was just like, yeah, okay. They may ask me to explain something. I just tell them, hey, whatever. I wasn't really being as actively engaged in my credit situation as I should have been, and I made some mistakes, and that's all it is. And if they ask that question, just tell them the truth. I mean, what are you gonna do, try and lie your way through it? It's not gonna make you look any better. But either way, I'm seeing these movements in my credit and everything, and I see just how dramatically, if you're over your good credit usage, I guess is the way to put it. It does dramatically affect you pretty quick. I mean, that you can knock down 20, 10, 20, 30 points. It just kind of depends on your situation, what your credit score is. I know that I missed 1 payment and it knocked me down, I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 25 points. I was like, dang, man, come on. And I was getting ready to go and get financed for another truck because I'm trying to add another 2 trucks to my small fleet here and get some drivers going. But either way, you know, the long story short is I wanted to share an image of the 4 credit cards that I'm using outside of my self-lender account, which all in all was the thing that made this possible to even getting those cards. Almost anyone can get those 4 cards that I just showed you. Everyone can get the self-lender account and card. That right there is a given. And self-lender, which is now Self Inc., is the one that made all that possible. I will put a link for the self-lender account in the description below for anyone that has not opened an account with that. And yes, I will get a $10 bonus if you sign up. But outside of that, it has nothing to do with you aside from me referring you into it. I have been using self-lender now for a year and a half-ish. And once I finished my first year account out, I started another one back up immediately with a little bit different of a setup because they did me wonders. They continue to do me wonders, are helping rebuild my credit from the poor decisions that I made in the past. And, you know, it's been just an absolutely great thing. And I highly encourage anyone that is in a bad or poor credit situation or just starting credit to go out and seek out the Self Inc. account. And again, I will put the link in the description below. It will, as long as you follow their instructions and just do good things and healthy credit building habits and get away from the old you and whatever caused you to get to the situation that you're in. Get away from that and start new habits, new healthy habits in your credit and your lifestyle. And it will most definitely benefit you. You have to treat it though, just like any other credit card, any other credit account. If you abuse it, it will abuse you. I mean, cut and dry, man. It's that simple. But I'll show you these 4 cards again really quick in case you're just getting in here to see this. But these 4 cards are the ones that I would recommend. I don't have anything bad to say about any of them. I know that there's some people out there who will probably try and argue, oh, they have high interest rates or something like that. But man, you got to understand that in this situation, you're going to be paying higher interest. So these are the 4 cards that I have been using. I do enjoy all of them. They do work just fine for me. I would recommend that anyone try any 4 of these cards, and it will help you out as long as you maintain your good credit usage and habits. So thank you for watching. Have a great day, and stay tuned for more videos.